I want to go ahead and get into a stack of cutters here that came with one of my machines I picked up over the time. I think it was a South bin, and then there was a collection of tools all sitting beside it. And anyway, in that was this collection here. And in this collection here, I think there's a couple small ones down in here. In fact, actually, here's one right here. Circular Tool Company Incorporated, Providence, Rhode Island, high-speed steel, 3" by 1 by 16th. June 12th, 1958. I'm 1 year older than that cutter. And that cutter's still sharp. And it's in this collection here that, you know, I just happened to find. So, and I don't see dates too much on cutters. It just happens to be on there. Same thing. Here's another one. August 1st, 1958. This was June 12th. $624.59. $413.60. These have been sitting around quite a while to wait to be used. June 12th, 1958. August 1st, 19. Really hard to see. I don't know if it's a 53 or 63. It's pretty hard to see. But we're all in that same air. Alright, and Thermco. We're starting to get in a different breed of cutters here. And I don't see any other dates and stuff like that. Just on that one set of cutters there. So I thought that was pretty interesting for a share. And all of these are pretty close. I think we're gonna try a 16th. And I'm gonna set up a 16th in here. And I'm going to see if I'm going to be able to get to center or close enough to center to where I'll be able to cut around here. Maybe have just a little whisker in the center there and then come in with a hacksaw and part it off. Maybe. I just think that this is going to be too tall for me to come in here. You know, it'll hit the jaw here. So I'm going to try to set this one up here and see what we got. And before I do that, I'm going to take a still shot of this if I can get the light right so you can see the date and everything. It's pretty cool. We're getting close here, and I've engaged my up and down feed, and I'm kind of like staring at it to the side here and kind of determining what I want to call being in the center there. And I like that. That's going to be close enough to center. Alright, so I'm going to lock the quill down. I'm going to set this at 0. My knee is nice and locked. And then my side, my in and out, and my cross feed, I'm going to slightly tighten those as I need to. Because this is an old sloppy Bridgeport. There's going to be a couple different things. You know, I don't have flood coolant on this Bridgeport, so I can't keep things flooded. And cotton oil is going to go in there. This is bronze. It's pretty tough stuff. I don't really know. We got a couple different options. Either air cool it or dab cotton oil on it or squirt Tapmatic on it. There's a couple different things that you can try. First off, I'm going to find a good speed that's going to go without any chatter, and we'll see what we can do from there. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to start over here, of course, take a little bit, and I'm going to come across. We're going to maintain this height all the way. And I'm going to come across here, and then we're going to come across the other side there, and then we'll probably come across this opening here. Or we're going to go ahead and run this cutter here, and a little bit on each side, leaving a little tack in here and a little tack back here so that it never drops onto it. One thing nice about the slitting saw blades is actually if you're passing through, it has nowhere to grab because your cutting is as wide as your bit. That's why it's very important if these things get dull not to use them, because then you start wearing on the sides. Alright, now this one here does look like it's been around the block before. This one here looks like it's brand new. It's just August 1st, 1958. I was born just a little less than a year before the date was put on this cutter. Alright, let's go ahead and let's change the speeds here. And I'm going to bring this down to the lowest speed the Bridgeport goes with a belt drive pulley system, which is 80 RPMs. Okay, I'm going to come in and I'm going to touch. And then I'm going to back out. I want to look at my cut mark. And it looks like I'm splitting the line. Now this is going to be 1/16 of an inch out of the width, and then the piece will come, so that's a 32nd each. But if I do a well enough machine surface with this, just a light lap on each part, then I'm completely done with those two, the split line. So putting it together and holding it and doing the bore will be the final step. So let's see how we do here. Touching off, we're calling that 0. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to crank in a 1/4 inch. Now I didn't talk about this before with any of the support or the arbor holders for these slitting saws. Most of them don't have a keyway or a pin or anything else to keep it. If you actually grab this, it will spin in here. But whenever I put one of these on, no matter what the direction of the nut holding it, some might be a left hand, some are right hand, but when you're tightening this, you're tightening it in the direction that the draw or the pressure is on the cutter. It tends to stay still and hold much better than if you have it going against your thread direction. Just a note, I was just thinking of that. It does have a little bit of run out to it. It's actually cutting pretty nice for the speed that I'm actually running. 1001, 1002. I'm doing about 20 thousandths per second. Okay, what I'm doing here, I'm just feeling the warmth of the cutter. Okay, there is no warmth on here. I'm sure if I was doing steel, it probably would be warm at this combination here. Alright, let's continue on. And right now I'm not having to blow it because the chips are falling out between this drop here and about here. Hardly any chips are coming out here, and this is staying pretty clean back here. Now, one thing I am noticing that I may actually have to do is this diameter up here is limited to how much I can feed in. I may have to drop that out of the collet some to give the clearance. So I think before I go for another cut, I'm going to go ahead and establish a height clearance on there that I overlooked when I first set this up. Okay, a tiny bit of warmth over here where it's actually cutting, and the rest of it's still, you know, I mean, it's not, it's almost getting up to room temperature, all right, because they have been laying on a couple, actually it was in the other room when I first got them, and of course it's about 20 degrees cooler in that room. All right, that was, we can still keep the same depth, that's not going to change as far as going into our part or bringing our part out into the cutter. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to loosen my brake and my hold here. We are going to go ahead and bring it up. We're going to loosen this, and we're going to then bring it back down here. And we're just going to be doing this by eyeball for right now. All right, we got there, and all right, I'm sighting across here, and we're going to be in the clearance here, right around in there. Okay, and I think I still got quite a bit up inside that collet, which is not going to be detrimental. Let's see how this is going to. All right, let's try it right there. Okay, now I want to establish a stress-free flow or centering this. Okay, so now I put it in neutral, so I got control of this, and I'm going to go ahead and spin this backwards, and I'm going to engage my handle here, and by eye I'm just going to go ahead and bring it down to where it eyeballs as close as possible. Alright, now I'm able to rotate it by hand. I'm going to bring it up a little, rub it a little bit. Okay, that feels pretty good right there. I'm going to lock that down. Well, leave that in. Set my dial for 0. Lock that. Okay. Now we're going to come back for a second pass. And I'm just going to double check. what we're able to come in or out, and I gotta get lined up here. Okay, about just under 700 we're able to go in. So we're gonna make this a half an inch. So we went a quarter before, now we're gonna take another quarter, make the total of a half an inch. There we go. Same feed. We got moved around here on the backside, and we found our limit because we were just barely rubbing over here when we brought her in, and we could hear it, so we were going by sound, and we were able to go in 670 thousandths safely without really scoring up the side face over here. So we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna touch off this side here, hit 0, and do the same thing. We're gonna go ahead and do 3 cuts, and here we go. Okay, we're gonna call that 0. And 250 thousandths. Now you can see that the chips aren't hanging onto the cutter out here very much, and they're falling pretty close to right off the bat. It's funny, some things that could be stubborn drilling and countersinking could be so easy to go ahead and cut with a slitting saw. Now, you might be asking the pressure back here with the jack screw. I'm leaving that there, and it's basically only, I've only got a tenth of a finger, and it's just kind of keeping it sound from vibrating and singing. We're still going to have a web right here in the very middle that will be holding it forward and back. When we switch over to the bigger cutter, we're going to go ahead and run it probably in a direction and probably run it on the side that we're at right now, so that it'll break through on this side here first, then come out here and catch this, so the upper pressure over here will be lifting it. We're going to be playing with the thoughts on that anyway. Alright, and I hand crank it quicker over to this other side here, and we're touching them right there. I'll have to make another one of these kind of, I didn't make this, I have one somewhere, and it's yellow, only because all my tools used to be yellow that I used to have in the shipyards, and that's back when I made that, and I painted the head of it yellow, and it has a slitting blade in it. It's in some box right now, I don't know exactly where, but I'm going to have to bring that out. And maybe, you know, because this is a pretty good little project for somebody to make for themselves, and that's a slitting saw arbor, so that you can run it in a spindle like this. I do like the thought that went into this one as far as having the shallow nut and having the little bit of clearance underneath here, so you can grab something like this and cut it off the way I'm doing it right now. Okay, now we're going to come in 500, which is just another 1/4 inch, so 500 total. Okay, here we go. Alright, we're in at that full depth now, and we're going to come on in. We just got to pay attention to it when we get to the very beginning where it's close to the center line, if we're going to be touching the surface again, and we just have to back out slightly if that's the case. And it looks like about 800 and looks like pretty close to 100 thousandths is not going to be removed on this pass. It'll still be in the center. Now when this comes out here, you'll get to see the width right in here, and it should be about 100 thousandths. After that, we'll back this out, and we're going to go ahead and change out with this cutter disc here. Slitting saw is the right terminology. Okay, and you can see right there, and that is pretty close to 100 thousandths. Actually, just slightly, maybe 92 thousandths. Alright, let's go ahead and we're going to pop this out. I can hold this with my hand. It's warm. Maybe when I say warm, like maybe 90 degrees. You know, it's okay. This arbor's got a very, very tiny shoulder up there because they made it for handling the slitting saws. And they're both the same thickness, so I shouldn't have to change my height or anything else like that. And there we go. All right. Okay, I'm going to put this in neutral. Alright, I'm happy with that. Alright, back in gear. I'm out as far as I can go with my table travel, so there's no way I can get out from underneath or behind or in front or whatever you want to call it. Alright, lightly tension here. Alright, good. We're at a good position here. Alright, let's give it some light. Does that help you? Alright, I'm going to relocate you.